Welcome to the Collective Genius Podcast, the show for real estate investors who are looking to scale.
Another week, another Collective Genius Podcast. My name is Leon Barnes, and I am your host for the Collective Genius Podcast, a podcast for real estate investors that are wanting to grow and scale. As we know, scale means something different for everyone, so we always try to bring on investors that scale responsibly. That's going to be my new hashtag as we move forward. Today, I've got a great guest, great personality. We were just joking pre-show. This is going to be a fun one for you, so please welcome in CG Premier member, Joe Theriault. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Leon. Thanks for having me.
I just realized that rhymed. Joe, welcome to the show. Let's go. Here we go.
I'll take it.
So Joe is an absolute beast out of New Hampshire, also gets into Massachusetts. You'll be able to hear some of that accent as we go here. So Joe, outside of, where you are, why don't you tell people what it is that you do in the real estate industry?
I basically, the typical wholesale, novate, rehab, installment contracts, own the real estate brokerage, that typical sub $10 million business is where I'm at, is what I generally do.
Is there a specific piece of that you're more passionate about?
The $10 million piece, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Here we go.
Right, like, not really. I think it's more of the business that sparks my interest in real estate. Just so happens to be the thing, to a certain degree, is what I feel about it. I mean, we like helping people and doing all that, fun jazz, but it's really, as I've grown, it's like growing people and growing a business is more fun than saying, hey, let's do installment contracts or,
right.
I think my business acumen's just grown over the years, so I'm more drawn to business growth than doing more deals per se.
I hope that's the natural progression for all, but we definitely see that within our community where people come in wanting to do more deals and then they realize there's more to this and get more satisfaction. And it's a whole balance thing that people talk about. I believe you can find balance within your own business because it becomes almost like your family, and you can incorporate everyone, their goals and their families within the business. And I've seen that transition with you in the time that you've been here, because you came in wanting to know all the, what are all the other, high level investors doing. And I've seen you now make that transition where you're doing team trips and you're setting team goals and you're taking your team to, excursions and things like that because they earned it. That's something that I think sometimes gets lost in the numbers. Everybody wants to know, what are you doing? And peacock and tell everybody how many deals you're doing. For you, I've seen this transition where it's about the lives you're changing, not only in your own team, but also those that you're helping as sellers as well.
100%. It's something that our core mission is improving lives through real estate. And we've dived in on that even more recently with our CMO and the outward facing message of like, yes, we're improving lives through real estate outside of here. People that we come in contact, businesses that we touch, and then internally as well, right? Like the internal of, I'm proud, to have the people that I work with, because I'm not capable of doing all this anymore, right? And nor do I want to. Of growing people and doing their 1-year goals and like really being able to change their lives on a, not just a professional level, but personal level. Their families, what they're just everything in their lives through contacts that I've made over the years that no one gave me, no boss or no company that I ever worked at gave me took me on a trip or paid for any kind of like high level executive coaching that everybody on my team has access to. Like, so it's pretty. But try and keep that is, we know the brain damage from real estate is inevitable, and I try and remember that and look around and be grateful for what I have, and instead of what I don't have.
I can see that in you, both you and Candy. Your recent presentation on stage, you were playing hurt, you were sick, and you still got up on stage, and the two of you delivered and took home a belt. Value to you beyond just your team. You're giving value to everybody that comes in your path, and I know that's going to happen here today. I want to start before we get into your past and the whole entrepreneurial journey that we do on these pods. Love to get a little bit of an update. A lot of investors that I'm talking to right now, they want to be a part of a community because they want to know what's going on in other parts of the country. What is it about New England right now? You guys are on, as you would say, fire.
Yeah.
You guys are on absolute fire. That entire New England area, anybody that we know that is in, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, are doing super well. Is there something in the water there that we don't know about?
Yeah, there definitely is. The three really interesting. I had to mute myself there. What that really is right now. There's a lot of things that I wish I had the data to see what the feelings that I'm having around this, because I can remember being 2014, 2016, when I was kind of rehabbing at that time, and being in Nashville, Manchester is a top hot geography right now across the board. And I can remember being here in that time frame and looking and being like, man, why is this so undervalued? Why are houses only $150,000 in Nashville? I couldn't, that was earlier on in my investing career. So I couldn't quite figure out what was going on. I think there are a lot of things going on to answer that question. And some of what I just said is part of that, where we were undervalued for a time in New Hampshire. So what ended up happening over COVID and the time the market went up, that we finally have caught up to a certain degree, is one kind of piece of it. We are an undervalued area that has caught its value due to proximity to Boston. And Boston's, in my opinion, a top 5 in the country. And we have a massive housing shortage here. So it's not like in other parts of the country where there's a bunch of land you can go buy. We wanted to be doing land home package installs, mobile home package installs, because we do that type of stuff. I pulled available lots in the whole state of New Hampshire, except for very north country on Canada border. And there's only 2,500 lots of land that I could buy to do in the whole state that I could do to do a land home package. So it's affordable housing. There is none. Lack of inventory. And I think we were undervalued for a time in proximity to Boston, and is really where I think it's held us afloat.
You've become a suburb for a top 5 market, to your words there. How long of a commute is that from that particular area of New Hampshire to into Boston?
Without traffic, it's probably half an hour. With traffic, it's an hour and minutes. Yeah.
But that's, for someone that's looking for value in land, probably to your point, before it was undervalued, where people go, I don't mind, especially if I'm not going into the office every single day. I don't have to worry about that hour and 20. I can't buy anything for 200, 300. Maybe now it's increased significantly, but I couldn't buy anything near Boston for that. And this is a beautiful area. I don't mind making the drive to be able to have something I can call my own and actually have a life that I can live.
Yeah, for 100%. And the piece that kind of struck me as you said that was, we were also one of those. New Hampshire was an influx state, and we always have been from Massachusetts, where We have no property, not property tax. We have high property tax, no income tax, and no sales tax here. So that drives people across the border. And then they also call New Hampshire the south of the north, right? Live free or die. Like that whole kind of vibe is here, right? No motorcycle helmets. Everybody's carrying, like that whole kind of thing is here in New Hampshire. So if you want to be out of Massachusetts, you end up in New Hampshire. So there's a whole lot of things that have kept New Hampshire afloat, right?
That makes total sense. Are you from that area originally? Is that where you were born and raised?
I was born in Drake, which is right outside Lowell, Mass, which is famous for like Mickey Ward and the whole Ward thing and boxing, like Lowell manufacturing, all that kind of stuff. So I was born in Lowell, raised in Drake, Massachusetts, and moved to New Hampshire, which my office is a border city. So Nashua borders the Massachusetts border. So this is like 20 minutes from where I grew up as a kid.
I asked that question specifically because, we don't have, and nor have I seen a bunch of applicants in the 7 years I've been on this side that have come through. You clearly know the area, and I've seen, from the time that we've met to today, you've always been, a high volume, a player in that particular, the largest in that space that I knew of. And I've continued to see you grow it. I'm guessing your footprint is growing a little bit outside of the area over the last few years than it has been, but still within the New England, New Hampshire, Massachusetts area.
Yeah, for sure. We own New Hampshire, in my opinion, and then we're going after market. We believe we have market share in Mass, in the Boston corridor. We call it North of Boston corridor. And with some recent hires and bringing on the fractional CMO, we're trying to really tweak some of that so that we get further market share.
Love that. There's something very crucial that I want to make sure that we make a point here is that he's trying to first and foremost own his area before he makes these moves. And I've seen that happen. And it's the specific reason I asked the question is you are dominating, your market share is what it is. And you've done really well in that particular area before you've moved on. You feel like not necessarily mastered, but laser focused on making that really good before you've moved on to somewhere else. Before you got into real estate, I know your story, but I'd love for you to share it. My guess is that you didn't want to necessarily be in real estate when you were a young kid growing up in New England. What is it that you wanted to do? I know how you got into it, but what is it that you wanted to do?
I don't know what I wanted to do. I went to college for a hot minute for auto mechanics. And I don't know, like there was no, I didn't really care for school that much to a certain, like high school and that whole thing. Like it didn't bring out who I was as a person. I was always some kind of like entrepreneurial as a kid, but that stuff wasn't talked about 30, 40 years ago.
That's right.
I had a paper route. I was working at my uncle's machine shop. Like, what else was I doing? I was working at the mechanics garage during my summers. Like there was always something that I was always doing as a young kid. And I think our generation was that way as well, as mowing lawns, like whatever it was to make a buck. So I didn't realize I was trying to run a business as a kid. Right. And that wasn't brought out of me. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't know at all till I don't know, Leon. There was no direction, to a degree.
I love hearing you say that because today's, there are some young people, including my kids, that listen to this and, what's changed for their generation. You and I are about the same age. I just had my 30-year high school reunion, which is crazy to hear. 30, 40 years ago, we were all taught by grandparents, and our parents were baby boomers and the greatest generation of Americans ever, told us to get a college degree and you would find a good job. We were all pushed in that direction, which changed, especially with YouTube and social media. is that, and entrepreneurship isn't for everyone, quite frankly, but there's at least an opportunity that kids that aren't necessarily wired for school realize that they have value. And that's changed tremendously. What I love about our generation, to your point, is when we weren't satisfied with what we were doing, we knew there would be more. Most of us, including you and most of the guests on this show, will reference one particular book. So you're working at a machine shop. I know the story. You were working at a machine shop and you pick up this book, and that book was?
Ooh, there was, I was into sci-fi, man.
No, there wasn't there. Didn't you pick up Rich Dad Poor Dad?
I did. You know what? I hate to say it because when my employees say it to me, I'm like, take that book and burn it. Don't you ever say it. It was Robert Kiyosaki's book,
Yes.
Poor Dad. I hate this.
I know your history more than you do. You want me to tell this story?
Right. Oh, my God. Try to bury that memory.
Yeah, but that is, for, everyone says it, but it lit a fire. And I know it lit a fire for you because you were working at a machine shop. And if I remember correctly, you bought what you guys call multifamily there, but it was like a 3 or 4-plex.
Yeah.
And you were house hacking before house hacking. And that was your start. You started in real estate that way by getting inspired, reading a book, and moving on.
100%. And that stuff wasn't talked, like no one talked about that stuff. Like you might have had some late night infomercials, Carlton Sheets type stuff left around, but like you couldn't, there was nowhere to go except Barnes and Nobles. I can remember hanging out at Barnes and Nobles and just reading books and stumbling upon that and stumbling on some other things at that time. But it wasn't anything to go do. You had to go cut your teeth,
Mm-hmm. So as you start buying properties, when did you know that you had an opportunity for business? Because a lot of people still to this day, it's a great way to build wealth, but they continue their W-2. At some point you said, all right, I can see this as a business.
No, that didn't happen a couple years ago. Seriously, the piece there was like what was happening at that time where the last cutoff happened in 14. The cutoff that happened was I was working full time. I had like 10 units across like 3 buildings, and I owned that yoga studio. So there was some business, and I was running machine shops, general like GM style, hiring, firing, running all kinds of millions of dollars of equipment. So I could see there was something, but there was no one drawing that spark out of me. There was no one being like, hey, Joe, you're actually like smarter than you think. And I had a coach at the time that I had met Candy, and she lived like an hour and a half south of me. So I had all these responsibilities, and I had met Candy an hour and a half south. And my coach at the time was like, I was like, I got to go do real estate. Like, I got to go do this. Like, I don't know how or what or how it's going to work out, but I was at like that proverbial precipice at the time. And she didn't say, go do it. Because I don't listen to anybody anyway. So like, but encouraging me to come to the answer on my own is what's really important for me. And that's what she did, and I saw that I just had to make the leap. I just had to do it. I didn't have all the answers, and that's what got me to make the leap and go, right? And then
How long ago was that?
That was in 14.
Okay, so we're talking 11 years ago, and you said recently you just learned that this is something that could be a viable business. How recent? 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
We were doing it. And I bought my business partner out 3 years ago, right? But we were rehabbing for years, and then we started to do the wholesale thing. And like I saw it as a business. We probably brought Shopper on like 5 years ago. So like I saw it, but I had a business partner that had already run like a 60 mil rev company. And so he had financial acumen that I didn't really need to go learn to a certain degree. So I just had sales and marketing on my side. And that's where I just went and did. So I just, I didn't see it from that light till a few years ago when I really had to I was like, okay, this isn't working out, meaning not a bad guy at all, but it was like, I wanted to grow. He was older than me. He'd already retired once, and I was kind of like pushing him, and that's not really fun after a while. So what ended up happening is when I bought him out, probably about 4 years ago is when it really hit me of like, okay, I got to really increase my financial acumen, and brought on simple CFO and like profit first and managing millions of dollars. Like, I'm a $50,000 a year machinist in my head. Like, to this day, I still got to talk myself out of that.
Mhm. That is something that I know a lot of people that are listening to this can relate to. I want to go back to that 4 year, because this is about the time that you were introduced to me. There were several people that introduced us. I remember Darren for sure saying it. I mean, you've got to talk to Darren Deme, saying you've got to talk to Joe. And I remember getting your application and going, oh my gosh. But even at that time, you were just making this transition to what you would later become now, which is this, machine. Speaking of machines, machine that is producing at a high level with a high level team. When did you learn about communities like this, that you could learn from others? Because you still see yourself, you've got that imposter syndrome because you see yourself as a $50,000 machinist. When do you find that, hey, I can go and learn from other people? Where does that come in?
I think I'm the amount of that's on my P&L for training and coaching is pretty high. So that's always been a part of me. I'm a venturer, so I seek knowledge, and I seek people that have done it already. I don't consider myself great. I consider myself good at doing what other people didn't do great. Is where I really how I've got my knowledge. So I think that's just always been a part of me. And then years ago, I pushed for a different group to be into, and that was like my first foray into groups. But I've always had business coaches. Like, I consider my old business partner, he ended up being more of a coach to me than a business partner, is what I was realizing, So there's a lot there where I've just always wanted more and better information.
Yeah, and seek knowledge. The first time that you came to the Collective Genius, what were your thoughts?
There's a little bit of free thought to Collective Genius.
Okay, I'm interested.
All right. So, because let me tie this on a bow for you. I'll make your job easy here, and I'll make you look good. All right. So the thing was, back in the day, like, CG was what everyone wanted to join. Like, to me, CG was like where you wanted to be. I can remember being like, I haven't gotten invited to CG, and being like, I wanted to be in CG, and all the top guys were in there. So it was something that, like, because you guys didn't have different tiers back then. It was CG Premier, and basically had to be a baller to be in there. And I was kind of on the outskirts, meeting all these different vendors, and Jason that owned Lead Sherpa back then. Like, I knew all these different people because I kept my head down. So to me, it was like this, I don't know, unattainable thing to a certain degree, is what CG was to me early on. I wasn't a fanboy. I'm not really that way, but I wanted to be in. I wanted to be in with the cool kids, frankly. And when I got there, when I finally was like, oh, let's go, it was one of the things that my business partner didn't want to go do. He didn't want to go to CG. So and I did. So I paid for it out of pocket while I was still business partners with him, because I couldn't run it through the business. Well, even though we were in the buyout process, I paid for CG out of pocket for the first year, And then
Did not know that story.
yeah, there's a piece there with that. And then when I joined, like I took Candy out with me, and it was fire hose. It still is, but now I know better and how to structure what happens when I go to CG. But there was just like the relationships and the knowledge and the relationships, and like another group that I had been in was really icky, and the guy that ran the group was not really the person that should be running the group. And even though I swear a lot and do my thing and kind of put on this, like, I can be a little bit of a personality myself, but when I came there was, at least it seemed authentic, and yeah, you guys' heart was in the right place, and that's important for me, and it's important for how people treat Candy. I actually watch that more than how you treat me and how women are treated. That's really a test for me that I run consistently, and like, do you just blow women off? And that never really happened, with you guys, right? So,
Love hearing that. Is there an aha moment that clicked early for you that said, all right, because you had already brought on Gary. Gary and his team had talked about you to me before you came on. Was there something that the first couple of meetings, it usually takes a few meetings for people to really understand the flow and get to know people. It had to have been something, maybe third meeting, fourth meeting, where something clicked and it made a massive difference in your trajectory of where you are today.
It's tough, right? It's 3:30 on Friday for me, right? So like I'll just be real with you. It is like having that, and me pulling things out right now is tricky. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like aha things that happened, and I'm not one of those aha guys. I'm one of those show up to work every day, keep doing the right next thing, keep plugging away. It's the small slivers of things. So I think it's just an accumulation for me of showing up and learning what I could learn, meeting the people that were the right people for me to meet, and just being around. Like, it sounds like you're paying me to say it when I say what I'm going to say. And you can pay me after. I'm not against it. But the piece there is like, when I left, like, having someone in your corner that's run a 50 mil business, that's a pretty big buffer of like, you don't better worry about a whole lot. And what, like, CG was a light business partner for me to a certain degree. It was like like simple CFO, CG, and I had Rob Hyder is my other big influence back in the day, of just good people that I felt confident that I could get any question answered. I could get any question answered in my sphere of things, that I had enough. I don't know. I had enough people around me at that point. It was a big thing. I'm doing okay right now. Don't get me wrong, but buying out my business partner for $500,000, that was a lot of money for me, and a lot of stress. Like, and to be on the hook for that, all of that. I didn't have to worry about stuff. I already owned my house outright. Like, I didn't need to worry. So taking all this stress on, right, coming out of COVID, I don't know. So I don't know.
Well, it obviously paid off, and I don't want to gloss over what you said there, because I don't always need this aha, big gotcha type of moment where you're like, all right, I knew right then and there. Sometimes it's as simple as knowing that the person in the room that you've maybe idolized or put on a pedestal because of the business that they have, is just a normal person and they put their shoes on the same way that you do and they're willing to help you. Like sometimes it's just that, right? That notion of if they can do it, I can do it. The second part of that, which is the most important part, is if you just show up and participate and you just work on what, one of the quotes from Alan Stein Jr. at one of our most recent meetings said, Kobe Bryant never got bored with the basics. And just doing the basics that you're learning from others that are successful, it's the blueprint. Taking that, getting 1% better every single day, more importantly, not just you, but your team. If you just do those things, that's what you're saying. You're saying that I just show up and I do the work, but I don't just work. I don't just work hard. I'm now part of a community that can help me work smart and work hard at the same time. That's the difference. And that's what you were trying to get across there that I didn't want to gloss over, because it's not Joe's, he may come across right now on Friday out of a 3:30, he may come across as someone that's not that intelligent, highly intelligent, takes what he needs, utilizes it, shares as much as he possibly can, but truly takes in what is good for him right now and then goes and apply it. And more importantly, I've seen, if I had anything to say about what's improved for you more than anything since you've joined this, it's the way you treat your team. It's the purpose that you have for them to accomplish their goals. That's changed. That wasn't you when you first came in this group at the level it is today.
I didn't know how to care about people at that time. I thought I did. And I can remember an employee saying to me on his exit interview that, Joe, you don't care about people. And I was like stunned by that. It like hurt me. And not hurt me, but like I was like, what? And I can remember at that time, I had got my banking license, which was a big deal. I was like, right? And I had this business, and I can remember it was tough it was always tough. I haven't hit an easy streak yet, but I can remember when we moved to our last location and my business partner wasn't coming in anymore due to I took over. And I can remember being at the front of the room and being like, I'm not getting paid yet. Like guys, let's go. Everybody else is like making money here. And after all said and done, like I'm not making money. And I would never say that. I would never say that now, right? Like in not even in the remote. So growing as a leader and business owner is probably the biggest thing that's happened. And knowing how to actually care and grow people without putting myself at emotional management is what I've got. So it went the other way, and I went to emotionally managing people to the past year now, where I've redefined some stuff. I work really close with Annie and have for years, and really redefined now, because I kind of went the other way, and I would always like emotionally manage, put people back together, get them back out on the floor. And that's good maybe for a period of time, but that's not how you grow as a leader, and how you grow other leaders is really my biggest thing that's happened this year is like, yep, I agree with you, growing people and that growth you've seen with me. And it's been an evolution again this year, a really big evolution where I'm no longer everybody's dad and I'm not emotionally managing you. Has created finally created the leadership vacuum, and it's crazy things are happening right now inside the business.
Yeah, I can see the impact. And for those that heard Joe mention the name of Annie, he's talking about Annie Yatch there with leadership training. That's just next level. And shout out to Annie. Probably need to reach out to Annie. Haven't heard her name in a little while. But I know that there's just not you. There's several in this community that have had that SEAL team leadership training over the years that have impacted not only their lives, but more importantly, again, their families and also their business families.
Can I add one thing to that? Let me add.
Please do.
Okay, because this is important. And I'll brag about myself for a hot minute. The piece there is that this week alone, Annie's met with myself and Candy, because we do some couple stuff. She's met with Olivia, My newer person has probably been with me for 90 days. She's met with my sales manager, and she's met with my newest rep this week, right? That right there of like, I didn't get that access to executive level coaching and have that at 20 something years old where you can get your life fixed. And like make some one of the guys that I have working for me had some really, I don't want to like disclose his personal stuff, but some really hard stuff happen at early. Like I thought I had some stuff. This is next level with some stuff. So the fact that like that to me is, I know if I grow these people, maybe they grow out of my organization, but I can at least know that now they're bringing their best to the office. And this kid, the sales manager now, I brought him last not this past CG, the one before, and she met with Amy this week. She's had like almost half my team has met with Annie one-on-one this week. Like, that's so anyway.
You care. Don't let anybody tell you don't care.
Right.
You clearly do, and you're investing in your team. And don't gloss over that, people that are listening to this, especially as you're growing. You may be going to communities like the Collective Genius. Make sure that your people are also getting poured into, whether that's executive level coaching, their own communities. That's another phase that, we haven't introduced yet, but is coming at some point, where we have rooms specific for COOs and C-suite level employees, high level sales managers, what have you. Because there's a need for it, and people like yourself want it for their people, because that even if they do leave 10 years, the time that they're with you, they're going to give you everything because they know you care.
These guys give me everything. They're die-hard loyal, and not because I demand it. It's because they want to give it.
Yeah, that's a presentation in the future. Just, as over time, especially as you pour into, that's a give for sure. Speaking of gives, I'd love to end this on, you're crushing right now, my friend. What is it that is working really well that you'd love to share with the audience that's working really well for you right now?
We just talked about it, right? Like it's really growing this team. I took again, not this past CG, but the CG before. That second in command thing, I forget who the presenter was. I went through their whole thing of like second in command business manager. It blew the doors off of me, where it went down like some really deep things, plus stuff I'm working on with Annie has really allowed that leadership vacuum to be created. I've actually stepped back into creating a little bit of chaos and have it be okay. Where to go, one of the big principles that we came to was with that second in command theory was, I need to go create some chaos again so that I can bring process to it, has been really, really energizing to me, because I'm a venturer. Like, we're lucky I haven't just taken off, right? So that, like, it's really re-energized me, and not creating damage to the business. We're very well on track right now for 2025 profit-wise, net profit-wise, and outpacing our goals. So not creating lots of harm internally. So I think it just goes back to everything that we talked about. What's working for me right now is I keep doing those things, and I keep learning and growing and taking on different coaches and different mindsets that are pushing me forward.
Did I see that you are going to start offering some mentorship yourself?
Yeah, that was a big thing that came from that second in command. Was I have 3 things that I'm responsible for right now as a CEO that that bring out that energy again, and it's capital raising and capital allocation. I'm looking to go into a new mobile homes and mobile home parks. Like, I need to acquire a different asset class, and coaching is really, I like to coach and help other people. And so I've really been working with Kate, Denise, and building a very good coaching program that I can actually like transform people's businesses, right? Like really, and knowing who my ideal avatar is. So yes, I have been putting it out there that I'm coaching, and she was like, Joe, like people are gonna respond to you. And I was like, no one wants me to coach. And I did like one post, and I think I've booked 15 appointments from it and been turning people away. And so it's pretty, and to be able to see that I can actually move the levers in people's business pretty easily is really brought my confidence a lot higher with what we're trying to do business-wise right now.
So I want to highlight a few things here, and then I'll let you tell everyone how they can get on your calendar as well. I want to highlight a few things. You have dropped so many different names that are either members of the Collective Genius, previous members of the Collective Genius, people that you've met within this community that have helped you. You've leveraged those relationships. You've helped them. They've helped you to grow to where you are today. And it's allowed you to understand that I'm being poured into. I need to do the same thing for my team. And now I'm in a seat where I can be a true visionary. The whole visionary integrator thing, the Rocket Fuel book, unfortunately, a lot of people try to go into that very prematurely. You're ready for that. And now instead of not knowing what you are going to do, you have a plan. I'm going to go raise capital. I'm going to find a new asset class to grow. And I'm also going to pour into others through mentorship, one-on-one coaching that allows you to be better. Because if you're teaching someone, you're obviously going to be sharper, and there's little things that little levers you can turn to help them grow their business. Like this is a full circle moment. If I were looking at when people come into the Collective Genius and what they're looking for, you're doing a lot of those things and have accomplished a lot of those things, man. I'm super happy for you, and congrats.
Thank you. I appreciate you for always being there for me too.
I appreciate you as well. So let's give some more appreciation here. How can people find you if they're looking to, they love what they hear here, and maybe you have a waiting list or what have you, but if they want to touch base with you for some mentorship, they can do that.
Yeah, the biggest place for me is Facebook, as cheesy as it sounds, but if you just go look up Joe Theriault, that's really where to get me. The last time I was on Steve's podcast, I gave my cell phone, and Candy roasted me for that one. So really it's Facebook if you want to get in touch with me, and an email at joe@ipscash.com. I'm on Instagram as Boston Joe Theriault. That's really how to get in touch with me.
All right, Facebook it is. We'll put the email in the show notes as well. I know it's Friday afternoon for you, and it's Friday afternoon for me. So we're going to let you get out of here on that one. I appreciate your time, and really, truly happy for your success. It's well earned. This is not something that just you sat down, grabbed a bag of chips, and all of a sudden you're swimming in dough and swimming with a great team. You had to put the work in, and you've done it. And congrats to you and Candy and your entire team for what you've accomplished. And you're not done. You've got more to do, but it's now in that true visionary seat, which is what most people come into this community for, to get to that level. So congrats.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So you've heard a great story here with Joe. If you'd like to be in the room with Joe and other members like him, the easiest way to explore and check out more about the Collective Genius is explorecg.com. There you'll find all the information of all the different tiers that Joe mentioned during this show. If you're a full-time real estate investor, we more than likely have a spot for you in one of our tiers. As long as there's a good fit there, we'll have that conversation on a consult. There's an application to fill out. All of that is at explorecg.com. And if you'd like to go back to listen to any of the episodes that we had, you can check that out, thecgpodcast.com. That's it for this week. Joe, thanks again. We will see you next week on the Collective Genius Podcast.
New episodes every week. To learn more, visit explorecg.com, where real estate investors come to scale.